Hello everyone. Okay, this is for the people that are watching after the show because I know there's no one there right now. But hello anyway. Hello. Who's joining us? Who's going to be the first person? Okay, so. Hello, who's there? Mufelolag. Hello, good evening. How are you? Good evening. Shegun Fatima, good evening. Thank you for joining. Elizabeth Ali, Queen Elizabeth, how are you? Gregory David, thank you. And Gregory, thank you for sharing already. I can see that you're sharing. Theophilus, Anne-Marie, good evening. Jumbo, good evening. Winfred, how are you? MJ, how are you? Good evening. Please share, guys, as you're coming in. Welcome this evening. It's always a pleasure to have you. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you, guys. Elizabeth saying good evening, sir. Good evening. And she's saying good evening, family. Good evening, everyone. Please share as you're coming in. Happy 50th birthday, this DSA. We love you in Canada. That's from Winfred Akan. Jane, good evening. Saying good evening, DSA. Hello, good evening. Good evening, everybody. Matt Kitten, hello. How are you? Thank you for joining. Thank you, guys. Olajumoke, good evening. Good evening. It's going to be a great evening. I don't know what the questions are yet, but I know it's going to be great because going back the last few days, it's been fantastic. So there's no reason why today would not be fantastic too, knowing exactly who we're getting the answers from as well. So guys, don't forget what you need to do. You need to send your question. Put it in the comment section. If you send your question now, we'll be able to answer it today. So what you do is write Q, colon, and then your question, so we can easily identify it in the comments. So do that now or as we're going along, but the sooner the better. Good evening, everybody. Hello, my pastor. Greetings, sir. Tokumbo Tok said good evening. Hello, Tokumbo. And so good evening from India. He's saying hello. Hello. So good. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. I'm going to turn the camera so that you can see DSA and he would say hello to you. Okay, sir. Hello. Look at that. He's a video, so just say hello. So guys, hello Chigo, good evening. So my husband heard you, MJ. Okay, good evening. I don't know who your husband is, MJ, but good evening to him as well. Ufoma, good evening. How are you today? Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us again today. I know we've had a full day, a packed day. We had the summit this morning or this afternoon, depending on where you are, but afternoon here in Kim. It was great as usual. And we had the Ukrainian one as well, the Ukrainian marathon, which is similar to this, a testimonial. And you joined us, and here we are again with me. I'm so privileged. Thank you so much.
MJ was talking about her husband.
Yes.
So it means he's not talking to you.
Oh.
It means it's probably addressed to me.
Okay.
So read that again. Let me hear.
He said, my husband heard you.
So her husband heard me yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because she was, I was talking to her yesterday about her husband. So it's good that your husband heard me. I would like maybe you and your husband will be able to come sometime to Ukraine. So, it will be a joy to see the two of you together in Ukraine. If not, then I will see you in England sometime. So thank you, MJ. MJ is one of the most committed members of the team in England. And so I was saying, with the way she loves Pastor Sunday, that I was talking about that yesterday. Yes. So thank you, a godly husband and very faithful husband for allowing, giving the wife the freedom to express herself and to be herself. Thank you for that.
Okay, MJ, look at that. That's just an acknowledgement. Nothing surprised me there. That's what you get from DSA. Even though I was just talking and he's busy there, he's still listening. He's here and now. That's something that I need to cultivate. I really do. You know, I was just reading. I thought it was just reading something on his iPad, but you can hear everything. Wow. Okay, so MJ, there you go. So let's go, guys. It's a pleasure to have you. And please continue to share. I can see that you're sharing already, and I appreciate that. So let's go with this evening. So yesterday evening, we finished really well, as usual. We always finish well. There were a lot of questions that really shocked me with the answers. I shouldn't be shocked, but again, I was shocked. Not because they're bad, but because they're eye-opener, light bulb for me, and I believe for many people as well. So one of the biggest questions for me was about our body and what makes us as human beings, soul, our body, and our spirit. And I really didn't know that when our soul is sick, or when our soul is ill, is when that can be treated, and it can be treated by psychologists, or even as a Christian, I thought that wasn't something that you should do, see a psychologist, because I've heard so many pastors say in the past not to see a psychologist or stay away from them. So it was really interesting the way Dr. Sunday gave the answers, and if you haven't heard or you didn't join us, please watch yesterday's video. There's so much there. Yeah, we talked about family, we talked about parents, honoring parents, we talked about Dr. Sunday's young self and what he missed, and he showed us pictures, which was really interesting. You need to check out the pictures. His face hasn't changed much, but hey, he's getting old now, so his body's changed, but well, things have changed, but his face is just still the same. And you'll be surprised to see some of the pictures. Actually, there was a question about the pictures, which was that who was standing with you in one of your picture. I think is the one that you told us in Moscow. I've seen that picture before, and somebody asked who was standing with you. So on that note, if you didn't join us yesterday, please go and watch that video after this session. It's really, really interesting. There's so much in it. It's packed with information. Some things that would open your eyes and would enlighten you, will free you as well. So check it out. And sir, so who was with you in one of the pictures?
You should know better by asking that question.
I should know the answer to it, or I should know better?
You should know better. That is out of place, because the time is gone, because I showed so many pictures where I was standing with different people, and so there is no need for that.
Okay.
Let's ask for interesting picture. Okay. And even if I say who was standing with me, what would that give the person? Okay,
this is one of my own usual question asking that doesn't even give you anything. But the person that asked, you heard, even though you didn't see him because I didn't turn the camera, but he said it wouldn't make any difference by answering that question, because you wouldn't know who it is anyway, even if he said who it was, number one, and number two, that there were several people in the picture, in different pictures, so it wouldn't make a difference. So I understand the time has passed, so we should just move on. So that's DSA for you. It's not going to do it just for the camera to be nice. He will do what he needs to do. So that's part of him. So let me ask another question. So that one is gone, right? Another question is, this person said that they've studied you, that you don't write something before you speak or teach. How do you remember all you have to say, DSA?
First of all, it's important for you to embody who you are, and to embody the content that you speak about. Some people speak about something as information. They are giving out information, but I don't give out information. I'm speaking out the content of who I am. I'm not learning something to say. I am not thinking of what to say. I am just exposing who I am. I'm only speaking about things that I've embodied, things that have become part and parcel of me. So I don't need to think. I don't need to know the questions ahead. I don't need to write anything down. I don't need to, to prepare beforehand for some of these things. They're already part of me. Now, I prepare when I need to do series of teachings or something like that. But otherwise, I just speak, what is already part of me. That's it.
Okay, there you have it. He speaks from what is inside of him. So there's no need to write them down because it's his content. And he remembers them. He's got good memory, so he knows because it's coming from his well. So it's a straightforward, simple answer, which is that is his content, is inside of him. He remembers what he needs to say. He embodies what he needs to say. Is his life, so he can easily speak what he needs to speak. So I hope that answers your question. I have a follow-up to a question yesterday, sir. And that question was about what you missed about your old self, your younger self, not old self, your younger self. And you went on to say, your athletic self and showing us the pictures. But I was thinking about it. You said that Pastor Bosse didn't like your physical self. We all know, as a woman, personally, I feel that it's not right sometimes to not want somebody for who they are, because that's what you miss and that's what she doesn't like. So what I'm trying to say here is that I usually object to somebody saying that they don't like me or to be in a certain way that I like, and I feel like they're trying to change me. So I was thinking about that she made you this way and she doesn't like you to be athletic and have the muscles. So how do my question would be like, how do you kind of deal with that? Because I don't know where to strike a balance between, I want to do something for someone because I love them and also not changing myself. So that's my question.
First of all, this was at the time when I was getting married. I was getting ready to marry Pastor Bosse. And she didn't look for me to marry her. I looked for her. And when I found her and I was convinced that she's supposed to be my wife and I wanted to share her life with me, then she is not a slave, and she doesn't have any obligation to just accept me or say she wants to live with me because of anything. So she told me the things that she doesn't like and the things that she would like to see in her husband. So if I am so desperate enough to marry her and to make her to give me a positive answer, I have to remove it. The onus is on me to remove the hindrances that are standing between me and her heart. So if these are some of the things that she doesn't like and that could hinder me from winning her heart, I would rather get rid of it but attain my goals. So it's my own choice. I could say, okay, I want to remain who I am, but then go your way. That's a very expensive choice for me. I would rather give up on the sports and the muscles than lose on the person that I feel should be my wife, and I'm not regretting that. But when I talk about the thing I'm missing, I don't mean that I'm missing it like I'm thinking about it. I'm just showing it as a difference between who I was, how I was, and I am now because of age. It's not because of Pastor Bosse.
Thank you, sir. I felt like we needed to answer that because I'm thinking of couples that are out there, and men especially. I'm fighting for you guys, ladies. We would always say, women should change certain things, change your looks, change, so that if you can do it, so why can't you do it? There's a lot of misquoting that goes on, especially when somebody of your caliber speaks. People always use that and misquote it. So that's why I wanted to clarify. Thank you for your answer. It's one person says that I notice you do not talk so much about miracles in your ministry so that people can focus on principles. But I just think sharing some of those miracles might build up the faith of many for the supernatural. I was particularly stunned when you remarked one day that you have probably more documented miracles than any man of God. I am curious, sir.
Yeah, go to my YouTube page. Go and look at the archives. Go and look at the documentaries. Even right now, go and look at the anniversary. I think most of the anniversary were recorded. Go and look at the testimonies. Only we are not flaunting that in front, but they're just natural, ordinary things. They are not the big thing because they are what God does. And why should we claim and ascribe what God does by Himself to ourselves and be using that as our platform? The thing that we are supposed to do is what we are supposed to pay more attention to. He says these signs will follow us. I walk in a lot of signs and wonders and in a lot of supernatural gift of healing, word of knowledge and all that, but it's only when it's needed. It's not just to use it to captivate people and to manipulate people and use it as to be your credential. Because that's not your credential, that's not your character, that's not who you are. That's just what God does through you. That's not you. You are totally different from that. So you should rather flaunt who you are rather than what God doing. So you are using God's qualities, God's work to cheat. You are cheating on God. You are ascribing to yourself God's glory, what God is doing. Why should you use that as your own credential? But what God is doing are not your own credentials. Your own credentials are who you are, not what God is doing through you. What God is doing through you, He does them. So He should take credit for all of that, especially when it comes to miracle. Those are what God does. And if you listen to the audio messages, my audio messages, a lot of them say have these testimonies. And, I'm going to have soon, we have documented books of miracles here. So, I think if you could have them. One of them is called Look What the Lord Has Done. One of them is I think is in English. I think there's a whole site that is in English like that too. Look What the Lord Has Done. So a whole lot of miracles, countless.
Okay, thank you. So there you have your answer, which is that miracles are God's work. It's not Dr. Sunday, it's God that does miracle. So you've actually answered your own question, because you know what Dr. Sunday is all about. It's about principles, what you can do, what God already put in you. So that's what is important. That's what we need to emphasize on earth. So not use God's work to manipulate people and show that. But saying that at the same time, there are lots of documented miracles that are on YouTube and audio and even in a book, just like you just mentioned now. So if you don't know is YouTube already, I'll just mention is Sunday Adelaja Official. Sunday Adelaja Official. And on his blog, which is sundayadelajablog.com, you will find his audios there as well. So check both platforms out. You'll find as much information as you need. So there you go with your answer. I hope you're satisfied with that. So let's move on, sir. There is this question which I think is a bit interesting. This person said, with so many learning and following, Pastor Sunday, is there any way all of us can expedite the release of the court mess? I am looking forward to his total freedom. So looking forward to your total freedom.
Well, that's not the question to me, is it? It's the team, it's the people, right?
Okay. Right. But can
it's
you...
to all of you to deliberate on. It's not to me, I guess.
Okay. Phyllis, let me know if it's to Dr. Sunday or not. I thought it was, but from reading the question, he's identified that it's not for him. But sir, can you answer it?
There's nothing to answer there. What can I answer?
Is there any way that we can speed it up?
I don't know. No idea.
Okay.
Pray if you want.
There you go. Pray if you want. Did you hear that? Pray if you want. Either way, I think Dr. Sunday is happy and satisfied with the way God does things in his life. So either we pray or we don't pray, he knows that what God is going to do in his life is going to do it. So I think that's what his answer is. He's here. If he doesn't agree with me, he would say. But he also said that there's nothing to answer there. That question looks like it's not for him. And I kind of think that it's not for him actually, because it says, what can we do? So it means that the group of people. Okay. Anyway, that's gone now. Okay. So this is a question. It says, what kind of relationship do you have with other big men of God, especially because you mostly do different teaching?
I don't understand that question.
Okay, let me repeat. Yes, my understanding is that, do you have any relationship with other big men of God? So with hyphen like this.
You say it the way he said it.
It says, what kind of relationship do you have with other big men of God, especially because you mostly do different teachings?
I can't see the connection between you doing different teachings and men of God.
Well, I can understand.
Yeah,
okay. My understanding is that with other men of God quotes out there, what kind of relationship do you have? Because you preach on principle, you teach on self-development, God, spiritual, you preach on spirituality as well. Focus on God, and loving people, doing your best, working hard. You're totally different from most pastors and most big men of God, where their preaching and their teaching is more egocentric kind of teaching and following them. You empower people to go ahead and, do what they need to do. You give us life and, motivation on God and ourselves, what God has created in us. But most big men don't do that. It's just about coming to church, coming to service before you're blessed, coming into to see them before you can do anything. You even say, you don't need to see me, you don't need to, I don't need to pray for you. God has already done it. Just go and do what you need to do. So I think this is what this question is about. Do you have any relation? You, to many people, or to me, you're on, in terms of caliber, maybe even higher than them in understanding of the Bible, but in caliber, so the big men of God, do you have any relationship with them? Because you're also in your own right.
Okay, I think I get it now.
Okay.
So since we are not teaching the same thing, do I have a relationship with them?
Mm-hmm.
I used to have a lot of relationships with what you call the big men of God and different men of God. I used to, try to see and build relationship with as many of the children, of the different men of God as possible. But lately, I just discovered that, before Miles Monroe died, he was the only one I could speak the same language with. He was the only one that that could understand me and I could understand. And, and also then there was T.L. Osborne, also before he died. But all these people that I'm close with seem to be going to heaven. At least they have gone to heaven. So other people, I know them, but I try not to build close relationship with people who don't carry the same value system with me. I say, hello, we know each other, hi, hello, like colleagues. But I try not to be too close to people that, that are having different value systems, that are having different emphasis in ministry. I don't want some people to contaminate me, and I don't want to copy some of the things that other people are doing. I tried. I used to go to America. I tried to, build relationship with a lot of ministers there. Some of you have seen my video, one in the American church when I was in America. But I discovered that a lot of them, they are concerned about totally different things. Unfortunately, most of the people I've met, and most of the pastors that I know, they are more concerned about the budget, about the crowd, and about property. And I discovered that, we are moving in different directions, and we have different emphasis and different concerns. And so I'm not keen on building close relationship with the traditional mainline pastors and men of God, so to say.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I hope I did justice to that question. This is just my thinking from reading it, but I love the answers that Dr. Sunday has given. He's from his point of view and what he believes. So he doesn't want anybody to contaminate his value. Not that I think anybody can do that to him, because he's from the inside. Yes, thank you. Not that I don't think anyone can do that, but even still, he's still careful, still cautious of who he associates with. So if you don't have the same value, he stays away, which is wise, I expect nothing less. Do you? No, I guess you didn't too. So there you go. Right. There's a question here. This is a funny one, but it says, what's your opinion when someone bears Jesus as a name?
Well, it depends on the culture. It depends on different traditions. I know that in the tradition in Latin America, people bear that name. But in the English-speaking tradition, it's not practiced. And so, I would not like to do that, because I think the name of Jesus should be exclusive to the Lord Jesus Christ. But if the culture permits it where you are, why not?
Right? I don't personally, he said, not me, not my what. Dr. Sunday doesn't think it's necessary, or it should be the name for Jesus Christ. But he understands, if that's your culture, Latin Americans, that's their culture, they bear the name Jesus, why not? It's not a big deal. So there you go, a simple, straight answer. Love it. Okay. Sir, somebody asked that, what advice would you give your 15-year-old self?
That question is a bit tricky. It's not as simple as it sounds. My 15-year-old self, you mean to say the way I was at 15? Or the way, or just assume I'm 15, or to somebody who is 15?
No. Let me say, what I think it means is that now at your age, sitting down with your 15-year-old self. So let's say there's two of you, your 15-year-old self and you now. What
My
advice?
15-year-old when I was 15.
Yes, when you were 15.
Not imaginary 15.
No imaginary 15.
When I was really 15.
Mm-hmm. What, and knowing everything that's happened now over the years, and you're now 50, going 50, what would you say to that 15-year-old with the way that 15-year-old was feeling? What would you say to that 15-year-old now about life, about experience, about anything really that you want to say to the 15-year-old? So sitting down with yourself, 15-year-old, at 15-year-old years old.
That is a big lesson. I have 2 hours lesson teaching on that.
You already do?
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't have it written down. I've not delivered it.
Oh, okay.
But I have it in my notes. But I said my 17-year-old self. But let's say 15-year-old self, I would have told myself that because of what was happening around me that time. So my advice, if you are talking about 15-year-old to another person, is totally different. But you are talking about myself in my real life.
Yes.
Not if I were to be 15, but if my real life. That has to be connected with all the conditions and situations I was going through. The conditions and the situation I was going through that time will inform my advice. And they might not be very relevant to everybody.
Well, it's about you, sir. This is a question about you. So I think some of those, obviously not the 2 hours, but some key points that you will give your...
Yeah, my 15-year-old self, it will not be 2 hours. The one I have for 2 hours is what I will advise, what I wish I had known at 15, which means not in my real life 15, but what I wish I had known at 15, or what I could advise a 15-year-old person. But if I were me, if my own self at 15, I would have advised myself to pay less attention to friends and their opinion, because that's what's going on in my life. Friends had a great influence and opinion over my own opinion about myself. I would have advised that I copy less of my friends, follow them less. And their opinion was not really as important as I thought they were at that time. Number 2, I would have advised myself to follow my grandmother more. And I would have advised myself to not to wait till I will be successful before I'm grateful and express my great gratitude to my grandmother. Because I waited till I would grow up and could repay her back for all her sacrifice for me. Then she died without me growing up before she died. So I missed the opportunity to express my gratitude to her. I could have done something more when she was still alive. Next point, I would have advised myself to begin to study much more harder and much more focused. I started to do that only when I was 17 or 18, maybe 17, just 1 year before the end of my high school. But at 15, if I had started to study earlier, things would have been much more. I think things would have been much more better for me. Next point. I would have wished I could be saved earlier. Those would be the things I would have advised myself.
This is such a sobering moment. Do you guys feel that? Especially when DSA was talking about his grandmother. It's always a sobering moment for me, but it's really interesting, the points that he made. And usually, when you ask this question, or when I've even heard it in TED Talks, they usually talk about, don't worry, I would have done this, I would have done that. These are the usual points that they give. But this is really interesting for me, to pay less attention. So I hope if there's any young person there or anybody that have teenagers, to please show this video to them or get them to watch this video. Because even though it's about his life, I'm sure that people that have grown down, they know that this is these points really, it's not just about DSA, it's about any conscious human being to pay less attention. Because I remember when I was younger, I paid too much attention as well to friends, people my age. I don't know why I did that, but it was something that I did. So that's a good point, especially coming from him, the DSA that we know now, to say something like this, that to pay less attention to friends. So we all have the same challenges as young people, which is that we pay attention to other people our age that don't have experience, they don't have the knowledge, to what they say, to their opinion. So please let your young people and family, let them hear this, so that they, especially not just hear it, but see DSA, the way that he was saying it. There's communication even in his way of talking and saying it. You know that it's deeper than just the word that he's saying. So please do.
I will add a little bit to that.
Okay, hold on.
I would like to add a little bit to that. Another thing I would have advised myself at 15 is I would have advised myself that life is not about pleasure. When I was 15, I thought life was about pleasure. I thought the essence of life was to have fun. And I thought life was about fun. I could have taught myself that, no, life is not about fun, but life is about purpose. And anything it will take you to accomplish that purpose, you have to do it. Even it's going to be pain, sacrifice, hardship. You need to do anything it will take for you to make sure that you are pursuing goals. Another thing, so life is not about pleasure, it's about purpose. And then the final thing I think I would have advised myself when I was 15 is that I was not inferior. So people around me at that point, I never knew that I was the same, that I had the same potential as other people that were around me. I thought the people who were excellent students, who are doing well in classes, that they were better than me, that God created them smart and wise. And I was not created to be smart and wise. I thought the people who are from rich family in the neighborhood, or wealthy family, that God created them to be wealthy and well-to-do, and that God didn't create me to have that, and that we were not chosen to be wealthy. Those people who are well-behaved, I thought God created them to be well-behaved, but not me. So I never knew that geniuses are not born, and that geniuses are created by hard work. I didn't know that I could create my own ingenuity, that I could become a genius, that I could do anything, I could become anything, that nobody is better than me. So that's why I'm writing that book, No One is Better Than You. I have a book that is going to come out on my 50th birthday. It's called No One is Better Than You. But nobody told me that no one is better than me when I was growing up, because I saw all the people around me better, so how could you say they were not better than me?
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Wow, these answers, they're really, really, really touching. And they're important. They're not just touching for emotion's sake, but they're really important because I know personally as a young person, I suffered from all of these things. Maybe I couldn't put it in the context or so eloquently, but I suffer from all of this. And even as an adult, I still do. So we can prevent this from happening to other people or other young people. So just take this list, which is number 1, pay a less attention to your friends, your siblings, your peers, your peers. Pay less attention as a young person pay less attention. Stop following them. Be the leader. Know that you can lead, not follow. Also, to value the people in your life, your parents. Value, in Dr. Sunday's case, his grandmother. Not knowing that he could show gratitude as he is, not waiting until he's rich or he has the resources, but as it is at that time, not understanding that he could show his gratitude. That was painful, and you can tell from the way he was talking that it's still painful now, because the grandmother passed away before he was able to show anything to her. So hopefully she can see now that he's doing well and always honors her. Also, to study much harder and be more focused. So that's another thing. Even as adult, it's so hard for me to be focused and even to study, to be frankly honest. So, but if you grab this now, as a young person, you would be able to develop yourself and be whatever you want to be. Also, where there are geniuses are not created, they are made. Geniuses are created by hard work. So geniuses are created by hard work. He mentioned that he thought that
geniuses are not born.
Geniuses are not born, they're created with hard work. So anyone that is out there, and any young person that thinks somebody is smarter than them, or they came from a lovely family, they came from a lovely home, their parents have the resources, that's why they're doing well. No. In this case, Dr. Sunday is a very good example to show to teenagers, if they will listen. So parents out there, help them out, please. So geniuses are not born, they are created. And also to understand what life is about. So life is about purpose. It's not about pleasure. It's about purpose. So understanding your purpose at a very, very early age. So help your children out with purpose. The book, Who Am I? Why Am I Here? is a very good book to help with purpose. I read it and I'm still reading it, and I'm reading it over and over again until I'm in my purpose that is just screaming out of me. So please, please, please go back to this video, write it down in a way that is suitable for you, that can help your children, and let them understand this. This is really great. Thank you, sir.
Tell them to
share.
Yeah.
So guys, sharing time. Can you please share? Please help other people. Share, and you can write something as you're sharing as well. So maybe you could put a topic, or you can put your own definition of what you're learning right now. So click on share, but click on write, where you can write down something. You can write geniuses are not born, they're created. So you can write that through hard work, or anything else that you prefer. So please do that, because people respond when they see something that you've written. Okay. So there's the question here. It says, this is not about you directly, user, but I think maybe you could help with this answer, with an answer. It says the Lord rested, Genesis 2:2. Please, dear, say, what does it mean? Is it possible for the Lord to rest, or it means Jesus ceased it from working at some point?
I don't get it.
So it says in Genesis 2:2 that the Lord rested. And
Okay.
what does it mean? Is it possible for the Lord to rest, or it means Jesus ceased working at that point?
Okay. No, that statement doesn't mean that that God was taking a rest physically. God doesn't need a rest because it's a spirit. Spirit doesn't get tired. And also, it doesn't also mean that God ceased to work, like it ceased to operate. Its operation didn't stop. But the process of creation as of the universe, of the earth, at that particular time, it ceased from it. It completed that circle of work. It ceased the process of that creation. So that's what it means. And that is what it means that the Lord rested. and he work from all his work is that he concentrated that day, consecrated it. It was about consecration. He consecrated the day, or purified it, or sanctified it. For sanctified it or set it apart, you could say. He set it apart to be a special day. He designated that day to be unique, to be a day of rest, not for himself, but for people. Not to rest physically only, but to rest as a symbol of the rest to come, as a symbol of the rest to come in Christ, and as a symbol of the eternal rest that we all have in him. So that's why he now says that day that is sanctified was Sabbath, and that day, that's Sunday or Sabbath, that day became the day that Jesus said is the Lord of the Sabbath. So it was for Jesus that it was consecrated for. It was set apart for Jesus. It was a day that is meant to worship the Lord. And it's a sign of stopping, taking a break. So don't just keep on going with all your activities without, taking a break to think about the Lord, or to worship him and to honor him and to reverence him. So have that in your mindset, in your mentality, the presence of God, to always honor him. That's what he said.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So that is clear. I don't think I need to summarize it, but my understanding is that he didn't stop to work, stop the world from happening. He set that day apart to focus on God. So much like you going for solitude. So that day is a solitude time for God. I think that's my understanding of it from what DSC have said.
But to be a solitude time for us is symbolic thing. It's done for us, not for him.
Okay. Right. So clarify, is done for us, not for him. Okay? Okay? For us, not for him. Thank you, sir. Okay, this says, dear say, please, what is your take when a person walks through a cobweb? Does it have a spiritual effect?
Physical cobweb. Physical cobweb? If that is the physical cobweb we're talking about, no, it doesn't have any spiritual effect. I know that people have used it in our background, in our cultural background from Africa, where we're coming from. People have a lot of stories, testimonies of cobwebs, and people walk into cobwebs and bad things happen to them. It's rubbish. Cobweb is a physical reality. And if your house is not clean all the time, you might have cobwebs. I have them all the time. I walk into them all the time, and nothing has happened. So thank God, it's just superstition. There might be some situation whereby it is out of place, out of order. It's not excluded that it could be if it's coming physically and many and everywhere all over you, and there are no spiders to create them, and is it spiders?
Yes.
There are no spiders to create them, and they just appear from nowhere, and there are so many, more than usual, and there is no physical, logical reason for them. Yeah, maybe then you could say there might be some spiritual implication, but normally it's just a normal thing, no problem.
Okay. So, no spiritual jargons to cobwebs, okay? Don't be afraid of cobwebs. It's fine. Take it out. Yeah, get rid of it, okay? You'll be fine. So, on that note, sir, somebody says, what could be responsible for delaying of God prophecy concerning one's life?
Prophecy concerning one's life. This is a religious question, and so I'm really... The thing with prophecy, what you need to know about prophecy is that each time you have a prophecy, you don't have the right to just fold your arms and wait for it to come to pass. If you really believe that it's God talking to you, then you have to go and develop yourself in the direction of that prophecy. That is to say, you have to go and study in that direction. You have to go and walk towards that, and then come up with a plan, with an algorithm of how you could go from where you are right now to where the prophecy is pointing you to. So when you develop the algorithm and you put all the structures in place and you build a system to get there, then you don't need to be wondering why is the prophecy not coming to pass, because you are walking into it through hard work rather than through some unexplainable spiritual, supernatural providence.
Interesting. That's an interesting one. This is the first guideline on prophecy that I've heard, which is to have a plan. When you hear a prophecy is like your assignment title. You have to go and do the assignment. So go and do your research, find out what the topic is, or that's the topic. So find out every area of that topic, develop that topic, write down everything you need to write down so that you can succeed in your assignment. So the prophecy is just like a guide. It doesn't mean that you sit down because God said this is going to happen to you, it's going to happen. No, it means that, yes, it might be confirmed, it might be true, but you need to do the work to make it happen. Yeah? So, there you go. That's really interesting, and, religious people need to hear this. So, and not go to say, prophesy on my life, prophesy. I never understood it anyway, and it's interesting to hear this. So, very good. Thank you very much. Alright, so there is a question based on yesterday's question, which is how can a child overcome the pain of what parents have made them into negative to honoring their parents? This was how can a child overcome the negativity of what their parents have done to them? How can they overcome it so that they can honor that parent?
Okay. When I was growing up, I was beaten mercilessly, not by my grandmother, but by my uncles, especially my brother in Moscow now. He used to beat me out of the pain he was experiencing. He used to just beat me, like almost killing me. I thought he would kill. Many times he would beat me so bad I think I would die. Blood everywhere. He would just beat me and punish me. They were just beating me anyhow. But growing up, I also saw that I was qualified for the beatings. There were things I did wrong that warranted the beatings. On the other hand, I also just discovered that that thing he was doing and they were doing is as a result of their own ignorance. It's as a result of the pain he was going through. He was displaying his pain on me. And it's as a result of, lack of knowledge. So I cannot be retaliating for people what people do in ignorance. So when I was growing up, I was thinking I was going to kill him when I become bigger, or when I'm going to take his son or his child when he has a child, and I'm going to retaliate on the child. All kind of evil thoughts were coming to my mind. But when I grew up, as I grew up, I just knew that we are all victims. He is also a victim. And so everything you suffer from your parents, they too are victims. You are all victims. Victim causing pain to other victims. And the pain they are inflicting on you is as a result of their own pain too. You can only forgive and have mercy on them. And use your mercy and love to help them also get healing. And that's what I did for my brother. I used the healing that I got, the forgiveness that I got, to help him get healing and forgiveness. And later on, my brother gave his life to Christ as well. And we are the best of friends now.
Wow, the depth of knowledge here, of wisdom, I can't phantom it. When somebody hurts you and hurts you so deeply, and you can still say that they are victim as well. if only we all know this and apply it as well, because when people are rude to us, even something as simple as being rude rather than hurt, we believe that they're just bad people. If we can just take this understanding that they are victim, they're hurting too, and love them, and don't think badly, find a way to make things better, the world will be a better place. Wars are happening because people are hurting people are hurting other people. So the person that asked this question, I hope this will help you to heal as well and understand that those people also, they're victims, and they're taking that is out of ignorance. It's not because they hate you. Okay? I'm quite emotional with this because
take your time and express it to people and let people. Maybe it will heal people too.
Yeah, it's quite emotional, and it's just I feel that I complain unnecessarily, and I don't have understanding. I don't have an understanding of life in the world, but I'm here to learn and heal as well, because this is really touching to me. I have no understanding that these people are hurting. Anyone that hurt me, it means that they're hurting as well. And just hearing it now is just so deep for me that I probably need to help other people as well and not think about myself.
Yeah,
it's not just self.
Yeah, because what you're saying is true, because they too are victims and they are even hurting more than you. Yes. You need to help them heal. But when you're egocentric and you focus on yourself, then you only feel your pain. Yeah. You don't see the pain of others.
Yes, and especially with our parents, even our siblings, family members as well. We're very hard on them. Sometimes it's even easier to forgive our friends than to forgive our family. We expect our parents to be perfect, to know everything. We don't even think about them being young and having challenges themselves. We just think about ourselves and our pain. So,
how egocentric that is.
Yes, I apologize, Mom. So, and my sister, and anyone else out there. Okay, thank you very much, sir. Our time is fast approaching.
I just wonder why your apology to your mom and sister should be that short. As if it's just by passing.
Because it's not what
you want to get over it as fast as possible.
Yes, I do want to get over it. And also, my thinking is that it's not about me, I want to serve the people for you, sir, so that they can have enough of you. It's not about me, but I just have to say it quickly. But I will call them, don't worry.
This is about me, and I'm teaching you, and what I'm teaching you is applicable, why don't you just practice it right now so that other people will learn to do the same thing?
Okay, all right, I'm going to do that right now. So to my mom, I really do apologize. I'm always blaming my mom for a lot of things I don't need to. And most of them are selfish, self-centered. Even though she sacrificed everything for us, I have another way. And I think that way she'd have been what she did. Without thinking about her position, her understanding, her upbringing, I don't think about it. And, I feel like I'm really not a good daughter. So, Mom, I'm just so overwhelmed, and I just want to apologize. She's probably not listening, but I have to do this because I have the instruction and I want to obey. So I want to apologize for that. I always feel like...
If you have to do it just because of that?
No, not just because of that. I have to do it for myself.
Okay.
Which is that I apologize because I feel like I could do things better when I can't do it better. Because I didn't come from your era. I didn't come from your time. I didn't have the same understanding. And it's just about me. Everything that you did out of your own understanding, and you did your best. And I'm really sorry. I'm sorry that I did not appreciate and I'm still struggling, but I'm not going to wait until you pass. I will try my best now to improve. And my sister as well, I'm really, really sorry, because especially my sister, I feel like she should know better from my mom's mistake, because she's older, so she shouldn't do the same thing. So, apologize. Okay, this will be our final question, guys. It says, So there's this question from yesterday, which was based on the answer about somebody that doesn't like to be told that I love you, and you gave a really good answer on, why then go into a relationship and not express what you're supposed to express in relationship, or be the person you are. You should go and develop yourself. And this person is asking now, what would you advise the person to do in order to love again? So you said go and develop yourself, but that's.
I think I spoke about therapy.
Yes, you spoke about therapy. Yes, you did.
That's exactly what the person needs to go and do.
Okay.
He needs to go for therapy. He needs to go to see a psychotherapist and open up about the wounds of the past, and get a consultation and get healed, and then take the husband or the partner so that they go together to the therapist as well, so that they could tell the husband how the husband also could help her heal, and then they could have normal family after that.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So there you hear it. Go for therapy. Don't be afraid. Remember the soul, body, and the spirit. So go for therapy. If you have any issue that you can't deal with, don't just live with it and then make everybody else suffer. Go for therapy and sort yourself out, please. So I know I said that was the last question, but I have one more question, sir, which I think will be a good closing. It says, what's the futuristic plan you have for your ministry and your children? Future plans for your ministry and your children. So I don't know if it's your children, biological children, or your children as us, the followers.
I think I don't need to talk much about the plans I have for my future. I've told you that my future is in Africa, and I have tens of videos where I've been speaking about my plans for Africa and for Nigeria. So that is very clear. My future plans are clear. For my children, I don't have any plan for them. They have plans for themselves, and God has plans for them. It doesn't matter what plan I have for them, and it shouldn't be about the plan that I have for them. It should be about the plan that God has for them, so that they will fall in with God's plan for their lives. And that's what I could do for them, to help them to get in line with God's plan for themselves. And the best way to do that is to push them towards God, and to push them to discover themselves. And so once they discover themselves and they discover God, they will find out all the information they need about God and about themselves. When they were not born, I had the responsibility, or when they were younger, I had the responsibility to talk to God, pray to God that God would lead them. And, I even asked God to reveal His plans for their lives to me before they were born. And before they were born, or the day they were born, I got revelation of who they are going to be, every one of my child, who they will become, and what they will be doing in their life, with their lives. And I have that. I have the revelation. Even though I used to tell the kids when they were small, but I discovered that there is no need for me to tell them. I will not micromanage them. Let them find out from God. And whatever I receive from God, let God reveal it to them too, on their own. Then that is how it will become their own revelation. And that is how they are going to be able to pursue God and be able to pursue their callings, by themselves, rather than by what Daddy said.
Thank you. That was a great answer. This is the usual DSA style that you have to end with a bang. Look at that. Number one, right? His plans for himself, future. We all know, and is in Nigeria. It's documented. So check it out on YouTube blog. So in the blog, you will find out go to sundayadelajablog.com/Nigeria. You'll find out information about the Nigerian Transformation Project. And the videos as well. So if you go on YouTube, you will find videos about his plans for the future. Last year in HMT, there were videos about the plans as well. You can check that out. But the most important one is the one about the children. For me, that's an amazing answer because he doesn't want to micromanage them. He knows what their plans, God's plans are for them, but he's not going to micromanage them. He's not going to tell them what to do. He trusts God to reveal it to them. And as a father, he's going to guide them, to help them. But he's prayed about it. He has confidence in God. He knows that God has settled them and they will discover God themselves by him teaching them about God so that they could go to God to discover who they need to be. What an amazing answer. So, if you're a father out there, mother, this is a prime example for you. And if you haven't had any children yet, wow, you're so lucky. Because like me, you would learn everything that you need to do before you make any mistakes. So guys, it's been a pleasure. A little bit emotional today with some of the answers. So, and also me as well. So thank you so much. Thank you for bearing with me today and with us. Thank you. We appreciate you. Please continue to share this video. Let your children, young people, remember the question about the young self, the 15-year-old self. That question is pivotal to any young person's life. You know, you could save a life with the answers to this question. So save a life. Be doctor person, okay? Be a unique doctor. So thank you again. I appreciate you. We'll see you again tomorrow. So, adios. Goodbye. Good night. Bye. Okay.